Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, evening, afternoon, depending where you are in the world. Really happy to be here with all of you today. My name is Heather Grant. I'm one of the community admins here at the Maintenance Community by Upkeep. Thank you once again for making the time to join today. If you are not already a member of the Maintenance Community on Slack, we would love to have you join us. I will drop a link on how to sign up in the chat in just a moment. Today we have Ricky Smith joining us for a presentation on how to reduce total maintenance costs with a few simple steps. I know I am looking forward to learning a lot. The recording from our session today, as well as a copy of the slides that you see here, will be available in the Maintenance Community Slack tomorrow. And the recording actually will be available right after we end at this same link. Ricky himself is also available in the Maintenance Community on Slack, so please feel free to share the recording of this webinar or the invitation to Slack directly with friends, colleagues, anyone you know who would benefit from hearing some of Ricky's expertise. My final piece of housekeeping, and then we will go ahead and get started. If you want to ask or answer any questions that Ricky asked for you, or if you have any questions as we go through the presentation today, please use that right-hand side of your screen. There's a chat box there. I see we just had Manuel say hello. Please feel free to jump in. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from. We'd love to meet you. That is all from me. We'll go through questions at the end of our presentation. And I think that's it. Ricky,
all right, thank you, Heather.
Yeah, let's get it started.
Welcome, everyone. So how to reduce total maintenance costs with a few simple steps. This was not an easy presentation to put together, but I think you're going to like it. So buckle up. Here we go. All right, I want you to text in your answers to these questions, okay? Do you consider your maintenance cost is higher than it should be? I should have put cost in there, sorry, but do you consider your maintenance cost is higher than it should be? Yes or no? What's your number one problem in your organization? Do you have a maintenance planner? I'll tell you what, I'll back up. You just answer the first question first. Go ahead and answer that one. Do it in the chat box.
All yeses so far. All yeses.
All right. So what's your number one problem in your organization? What is the one thing that keeps you awake at night that you need to, that something needs to change in your organization? What is it? You have to think on this one, I know.
Manuel says reactive work.
Yeah, it's a big one.
On the other hand, Abdul says proactive maintenance. Oh, meaning reactive, actually. So both reactive so far.
All right, third one, do you have a maintenance planner?
Yes, but they're not very active. Yes, we have a maintenance planning group are the two answers we've gotten so far.
Okay. Do you have an effective CMMS with all maintenance work entered via a work order, which is charged to an asset? Work order is charged to an asset.
Yes, and yes, but only partially. More typing. Yes, we have work orders and CMMS.
All right, last one. Is your company reactive, proactive, or you don't know?
Um, 50-50.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what's included in maintenance costs, okay? Maintenance labor, of course. Maintenance material, yeah, I got that. Contract maintenance and maintenance restoration. So things that we have to send out to be restored. That's the, or like your motors to be rebound and stuff like that. And then whatever else. There's other things included in maintenance costs. I just give you a few. So what impacts maintenance costs? Reactive maintenance impacts it dramatically. Okay. No maintenance planning and scheduling. Oh my gosh. Every plant that I've ever been into didn't have planning and scheduling. Their maintenance cost is out of control. All of them. I mean, I'm talking about, I don't know, probably close to 1,000. Ineffective planning and scheduling. So you have none, or you have it, but it's not effective. Performing preventive maintenance and equipment continues to fail. That's not logical. Lack of training for maintenance technicians. So, we expect maintenance technicians to know everything. Well, we need to continuously train them to give them more knowledge, because knowledge is the whole foundation of maintenance support. Maintenance techs are not performing work with a repeatable procedure. And then maintenance errors. We don't use a torque wrench. We use a big wrench, or we're just doing the wrong thing. We miss something, and we're humans. We're full of errors anyway. But it's one of the problems that we face that impacts maintenance cost. No scorecard, so no way to know how well we're doing. Now I'll ask this one now: how many of you have a maintenance scorecard that tells you what is the score of maintenance in your organization? I'm talking about a dashboard. Anybody? Everybody? Do you have one? Yes or no?
All yeses.
Awesome. You must be from outside the U.S. Contractors not performing work to specifications. You get contractors in, and they're not doing the work the way it's supposed to be done. No one verified and providing oversight of contractor work if it's conducted to specification. One thing I've seen in a plant recently, when you have a lot of contractors doing work, when no one was paying attention to where the ground lead was on the welding machine that was doing the welding. The ground lead was about, I'd say, 100 meters from where the welded area was. So what does that mean? The current goes the path of least resistance, which is electrical circuits, motors, bearings, and so on. So how is maintenance cost really measured? Maintenance costs, the number one way to do it, maintenance cost is the percentage of replacement asset value. That's the number one way to measure it in the world. Maintenance material costs as a percentage of replacement of asset value. Maintenance training costs as a percentage of replacement of asset value. And maintenance contractor costs as a replacement of asset value. So estimated replacement value is ERV or equipment replacement value or replacement asset value. Okay, it's a dollar value that be required to replace the production capability of the present assets in the plant. It includes production process equipment as well as utilities, facilities, and related assets. Do not use the insured value or depreciated value of assets. Includes the replacement value, but it does include the replacement value of the building. I have to say, I just took from SMRP the statement. I believe, because most people can't get the replacement value to cost, because it's the only baseline I got is the insured value. That's what I use. Okay. So maintenance cost is the percent of replacement of asset value, typical companies versus world class. Okay. So here we got maintenance costs as a percent of replacement asset value, typical 3.5%, world class 3%. Now it says maintenance costs must include labor, including overtime, materials, contract maintenance, capital replacements, because things are, we got to replace it because it's worn out, or maybe we got to upgrade. Maintenance, replacing worn out assets because they're never were properly maintained. That's part of it. But look at that, 9% typical. Let's just say on the high side. World class on the high side is 3%. That means it's costing you a lot of money to get the reliability you get. And the same thing with parts. Parts, it's incredible. It's incredible. And how do we survive without it? I don't know. But think about this, okay? If your current total maintenance cost is at $10 million per year, at 9% of RAV, because maintenance is not in control, and you transition to proactive maintenance, and your cost is now 3% of RAV, your cost now went from $10 million to $3,300,000. That's a big drop. That's like the aha moment, So, I like Albert Einstein, his statement many years ago. He said insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Everybody tries to cut their costs, just by cutting it. Okay, we're not going to spend any more money on parts this month. We're running low on money. Okay, or can't hire another person because HR says we got enough people. All these things, we keep going through the same issues over and over again, thinking it's going to help us, and it doesn't. So what would happen if you were to reduce maintenance costs? What really would happen? Your company would be more profitable, which results in job security. I like that one a lot. Stress is reduced in production, maintenance, and leadership. I mean, I've been in many plants that, to be honest with you, you walk in, it's like your hair starting to stand up on the back of your head. I'm like, oh my gosh, something's going on here. Stockholders or owners are more likely to ensure you have job security, and employees come to work excited to work in a more proactive environment. Work happy. Okay, there's the work happy button right there. You just push it and you're working happy. So some warnings. An organization cannot cut costs in order to improve performance. Cutting costs with a plan results in higher costs, even with a plan, but you cannot cut costs. And I also always say this statement, warning, I like when you maintain equipment, bring it up to a maintainable level that hasn't been running to that. I like posting this sign on the machine. Warning, maintainable equipment in this area. Reactive maintenance not authorized in this area. So step one, educate personnel in known maintenance and reliability best practices. Plant leadership needs to have it 2 hours. Production leadership, 4 hours. Maintenance leadership, maintenance management, maintenance supervisors, 3 days. Need to go to a class where you get the knowledge and you have some interaction in there. You meet other people that are like you in similar situations, and there's other ones in the class that are already where they need to be. Good place to be if you're in a class like that. Maintenance technicians, 3 days. Best maintenance technician practices, 3 days. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. That was by Benjamin Franklin. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And here it proves it. All right, so step two, and we do a baseline. We baseline current measurements against known best practices. So here's one of them. PM execution should be 15. So actually executed at PM should be 15% of labor hours. The results that comes from PM, the things that we got to plan, the results that comes from it is 15% of labor hours. Okay. PDM execution, 15% of labor hours. Now here's where the difference is. Look at the results of PDM, 35% of labor hours. Why? It's because predictive maintenance finds more things far enough ahead of time. We can plan and schedule it to make it happen, keep it functionally competent. I mean, giving us what we need at the right time. Total work plan, 90%. Reactive work, less than 2% of labor hours, less than 2%. Stockouts, less than 2%. You go to the storeroom, the part's not there. Stock out. Schedule compliance by day, by week, 85 to 90%. You guys tell me, text in this, what is your schedule compliance? And if you don't measure it, just say, I don't know. Okay? Text it in to me.
Still waiting. A few people are typing or thinking. Leave one for 80%.
And if you don't know, say, I don't know.
Yeah, we got a not sure.
Yeah. Come on now, don't be quiet. That's it.
Yeah, stumped people with that one.
Somebody typing?
Not that I can see, but definitely
let's
thinking,
move on.
that's for sure.
Yeah, failure elimination is a key focus of all. This is failure reporting. The analysis and corrective action systems are based on failures we have. Then we do an analysis of them and we take corrective action associated with it. Work orders are closed with all codes identified. If we don't put all the data in the work order, when we close them out, we don't get the right metrics. Maintenance cost is a percentage of replacement asset value. Here's why I like to use the insured value. I know what SMRP says. This is the way I do it, and I'm doing it right now at a company. Step 3, conduct a maintenance assessment to assess current state against known best practices. Okay, you see the scores here. If you start at the top, 0 to 500, if you score, be a totally reactive. Reliability principles are not understood or applied. You need to educate all management and engineering in reliability and develop a reliability strategy for serious change. You need to develop a business case. How much money are we losing to define the opportunity? And then attend training and maintenance and reliability best practices. The next one, if you're merging 501 to 700, long way to go. You need to develop a business case and reliability strategy with timelines, targets, and objectives. The next one, 701 to 850, you're proactive. Continue the journey. If you're proactive, you're headed in the right direction. You need to ensure continuous improvement process is built into your asset reliability process. Identify the gaps in the assessment and fill the gap. 85 to 1,000, world class. Hire outside reliability consulting firm to assess your current state and make recommendations for any changes. Great job. Now, I have to tell you, by going through this thing, been going through it today with a company, going through this step by step. We haven't finished it yet, but it's going to help them a lot determine what they need, what are their gaps, where do they need to bulk up or put more resources in. So where do you think you fit on this score? That's the question. You don't have to text it in. It's always a question with me. Next, step 4, create a master plan to move from current state to future state. Okay. I want quick wins up front. The reason why you want quick wins is because management wants to see something now. They're not very patient. They want to see it now. So you got to think of what are some quick wins. Like one organization right now, they got a lot of air leaks in their plant. And what we're going after are the air leaks. Why? Because they're running 4 compressors. What they ultimately find out once they repair all those leaks with a contractor, don't try to do it yourself. Don't use your maintenance guys to do it. Get piping contractors. Once they do that, they'll go from 4 compressors to 2 compressors. I bet money on it. Use the crawl, walk, run methodology. So in this master plan, make sure you're successful, at the slow pace at first, doing the right things. So you crawl, and as you start seeing results, you start walking, and then the run means now we're off like a rocket ship. Identify roles and responsibilities. Most organizations, I know probably all of you have roles and responsibilities defined for everything, but roles and responsibilities are critical because you've got people to say, yeah, that's not my job. That's not my job. Hey, I don't have anything to do with that. But if you're on the RACI chart, you will be pointed to. You will know what your responsibility is, and that's the key part of it. Create a dashboard to measure effectiveness. Perform a gimbal walk. I've been doing this all week at a plant, weekly with key players. I've been from everybody from the vice president down to technicians. We've been walking and seeing what we see. What kind of issues do we see? And it's amazing what you will see. So take a couple of technicians, if you're maintenance supervisor, and just walk through. Say, guys, did you see anything wrong on this equipment here? Yeah, we got some oil leaks over there. Or do you think that's bad, good, or what? We got some water leaking out of the ceiling. You think that's bad or good? What do you think it's going to impact? Now, all I'm trying to do is engage them. The gimbal walk is to engage them. It's to open their eyes. And then use the A3 reporting on critical failures. That's just over to the right side. It says problem resolution, root cause, and measurement sustainment. I use this in a lot of places. I tell you what, you put a scorecard, you put something up like this. An A3, by the way, is an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. okay? But it's called an A3 report, all right? It identifies the problem, the resolution, the root cause, and then how do we measure it and sustain it once we have resolved it, okay? Ensure all assets are in a maintainable condition. Begin with the worst performing asset. So if you know that you've got one asset, you know, it may be not the one that everybody thinks we need to do something about, but begin with the worst performing. What's the data show us? Assess and restore what is inhibiting the assets from meeting expectations. So what that could be, it could be multiple things. And it could be that the equipment is not running the specification. Well, why isn't it running the specification? Why? Get to the root cause of it. Find out what it is. We want to ensure all our assets are in a maintainable condition. Once you restore it, then it's maintained. Okay, we got to maintain it with effective PM procedures, repeatable PMs, repeatable procedures, and planning and scheduling. Those are critical. PM, repeatable procedures, planning and scheduling. So warning, this is what I always put on equipment after we maintain it. Warning, maintainable equipment, no reactive maintenance authorized in this area. That way they stop and they say, oh, that's right, this equipment here we've restored. Number 6, well, let me ask you on this number 6, how many of you, I know I mentioned about repeatable procedures, but how many of you truly use repeatable procedures? Like the one I've got here, you actually see that, I don't have initials on this one. Typically what I like them to do is put initials on it. Do you have a repeatable procedures? Do you follow them? Yes or no?
Waiting on people to type. Yes. Only one answer so far, but it's yes.
So you can hand the procedure to anybody that's a certain class and they can do it, specification.
We got another yes.
Good. Why repeatable procedures? To reduce human-induced failure. We know we have human-induced failure. Human-induced failure costs us money, okay? Especially when you got the same person making the failures over and over again. Why? Because they don't know the specification. To ensure work is completed to specification. We want to make sure that when we finish the job, what I used to tell my technicians is you don't leave the work, especially if it's a breakdown, you don't leave the equipment until production gives you this thumbs up. All's good. Okay, they're running the specification. Now I can go and do my other work. To ensure everyone's aware of the possible risk involved in this work. You know, repeatable procedures have to do with giving you warning statements to warn you if there's a problem. It's a potential problems you may run into in this next step. That's what is critical. That's why you see the red on down below on my procedure. I want the red to hit you right in the face saying, oh, what failure to follow this may result in serious injury. Conduct a PM optimization. So I'm going to ask you, how many of you have ever conducted a PM optimization or evaluation? Just give me a yes or no.
One says never. Yes. Two ends of the spectrum there. Another no.
Yeah, most people have not. It's very simple. It's complex in one way, but it's not complicated. First, you identify which asset or functional area the PM optimization will be executed. So here I've got I've actually blocked in an area, just like you do with RCM. So you put a block around, this is the area we're going to focus on. All right. And then identify a cross-functional team. I'd like to have the best operator, best maintenance tech, reliability engineer should lead this process, and the maintenance planner. Why? The maintenance planner's got the data, information we may need. Establish expectations from everyone engaged in this process. So what would your expectation be if you're doing a PM optimization? Anybody? Come on now. Somebody's got some expectations on it. What do you think? If you're going to optimize your PMs, what are you expecting from it?
To optimize the PM cost versus reliability, savings.
Yeah, absolutely. That everybody?
That's all the answers so far, yeah.
Define the end goal as process. Equipment should be running more reliable. Define how you measure if the PM optimization process is effective or not. I have to tell you, the best one to do that with is PM labor hours versus emergency urgent labor hours. That's the best method to go about it. Present copies of PMs to all parties. So we're sitting at a table, we're handing them out. Okay. We're going to review the equipment history for the past 30, 60, and 180 days. That's why it's important to have the history on the assets. We want numbers of breakdowns, causes of critical breakdowns based on maybe a formal RCA, PM labor hours versus emergency labor hours. Go step by step in each PM procedure and identify the following tasks, okay? I'm going to show you in a minute. Review the results and adjust as needed. So down below, we got the PM recommendations. So when you look down at the steps on that PM, you can say, it says check chain drive. Well, maybe we're doing something else to check the chain drive. So let's just say there's no value added, especially if you do PDM on it. Reassign the lube route. A lot of companies don't have lubricators, but if we look at the task, go to the labor hours. If I could take people and move them from one role to another, make a maintenance, I want my best maintenance technician to be a lubricator. So if the labor hour reassigned to lube route is 3,980 labor hours, then I would say I'd probably want to have a lubricator. Okay. Reassign the operator care. The operator's already there. Why can't they do it? Okay. That's 4,987 labor hours. Reassign the operator care. Okay. Replace with PDM, predictive maintenance. A lot of companies, they hire an outside contractor to do predictive maintenance, but they do no visual inspection or anything on the equipment. It's not good. Okay. Rewrite tasks. It may be a good task that just needs to be rewritten. On a PM task, I like nothing more than essentially a noun, adjective, and a verb. I don't need 2 lines or 3 lines on one step. That people don't read that. People do not read it. Task as good as found. Look at that. 20% of the tasks were good as found. This is the actual situation that I went through. Okay. So focus on maintenance planning, scheduling expectations on the PF curve. If we look at the PF curve, we see point P is that red dot, and this is when failure begins. But planning and scheduling PF curve is a graphical representation how maintenance planning and scheduling will fail. If we don't have the planning in place and we got the backlog in place, we got a problem. If we don't have that's total backlog, 4 to 6 weeks. If the schedule, if we don't have 2 to 4 weeks of backlog, ready backlog means ready to schedule, we're gonna hit point P because the equipment won't be repaired or restored before it starts its journey down to the darkness. Okay. So how does planning and scheduling fail? Wrench time will be low. World-class maintenance wrench time is 55 to 65%. Typical wrench time is 60 to 35%. By the way, I'm telling people right now, in the U.S., the government is giving out a lot of money to employees, to stay at home, and they're staying at home. Okay, so what I tell them, now's the time to increase planning and scheduling, make sure planning and scheduling work, because that way you don't miss people. If they decide they don't want to come to work, they want the government to pay them, that's fine. That's fine. That's their choice. Step 8, focus on optimizing planning and scheduling. That wrench time. Attend formal planning and scheduling training is 3 days. Okay. I got a class coming up in 2 weeks. Sign up for it. You'll be glad you did. Arrange for the instructor to come to your site. Don't ask me, okay, if you're somewhere else besides close to me, probably not going to happen. Okay, so arrange for an instructor to come to your site and assist with implementing proactive planning and scheduling. To educate management and the maintenance team, create planning and scheduling process maps, assist in planning and scheduling for 1 week. I just need them there to help us get through the first step. Create a maintenance dashboard. So we look at this one, we got total backlog. And this is one, planning and scheduling, total backlog 6 weeks, ready backlog 2 weeks, plan work 75% of our work's planned, schedule compliance 88%, rework means we have equipment failed after we did something to it in maintenance 14, emergency labor hours 37, maintenance cost as a percent of replacement asset value 14.3%. So text him one thing you've learned so far. We've only been in this 30 minutes, okay? But tell me text him one thing that you've learned so far. Or maybe you already knew and just brought it back up in your mind.
People are typing.
It'll take a little bit longer. That's a couple texts, sure.
Mm-hmm. We have effectively allocate labor hours to various maintenance program activities.
Yeah, good point. We got others typing?
I saw others typing. Here's another one that just came in. Says we should take advantage of the U.S. government offer and try and enroll in more maintenance courses, especially those of world-class maintenance by you, Ricky.
Yeah, exactly. Is that it?
That's all we've gotten.
Okay, let's move on. So questions? There's the training I've got coming up, maintenance and reliability best practices. That's already done. That's over. Planning and scheduling June 22nd to 24th. Preventive maintenance plus PM optimization July 20th to 22. Maintenance technician best practices. In that also, anytime I do the maintenance and reliability best practices, I help prepare you for the CMRP. The maintenance technician, I help prepare you for the CMRT. And then we got maintenance storing practices coming up in November. All right. Any questions?
We haven't seen any questions, but we got a couple more of learnings from today. If you want me to share those.
Okay.
Another one for allocating labor hours, and then the last one we got just says we don't cut costs in order to improve performance.
That's right. You can't cut costs through reliability. It costs what it costs, and people don't think that. We can't spend any more money at the end of the month. I mean, right now we're not at the end of the month yet, but we got to quit spending money because we're over budget. Okay. So which equipment do you not want to maintain? You just tell me. All right. I appreciate it, everybody. Hopefully you got something out of this session. If you'd like a copy of the slides, Heather's going to send them to you, but they're also on my website at worldclassmaintenance.org. You can download them and pick up anything you want on there. That does not require an email address. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you have a great day and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.